time. Without objection, it is so ordered. Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and the mark is open to amendment at any point. Also, without objection, members have 5 legislative days within which to submit written statements to be made part of the record. So ordered. Welcome to the annual Strategic Forces Subcommittee markup of the National Defense Authorization Act. First, I would like to thank Ranking Member Lambourne and all of our subcommittee members on both sides of the aisle for their many contributions to this mark. As I have often said, the subcommittee has in its jurisdiction the most technical, complex, and consequential issues of any committee in Congress. This year, we've held 4 public hearings and 6 closed briefings covering policy and programmatic issues regarding space, nuclear weapons, missile defense, and hypersonics. This mark is a result of that months-long bipartisan process to maintain our 61-year tradition of producing an NDAA. Unfortunately, the world continues to become more dangerous. For example, Russia's aggressive nuclear threats surrounding its invasion of Ukraine, the unprecedented expansion of China's nuclear arsenal, and renewed testing of nuclear-capable missiles by North Korea. It is obvious that a nuclear attack on the United States, our forces abroad, or our allies would be catastrophic. It is imperative that we continue to deter nuclear attack by ensuring that our superior nuclear forces are safe, secure, and reliable, including their command and control infrastructure. This mark focuses on ensuring that the Departments of Defense and the Department of Energy are well positioned for the immense task of sustaining our legacy forces while also recapitalizing the nuclear enterprise for the next 70 years. Managing so many just-in-time transitions from legacy to modern capabilities requires focused, world-class management. Regarding space, in the last several months, we've witnessed unprecedented Russian and Chinese capabilities specifically designed to degrade and destroy U.S. space assets. Lieutenant General Gutlein, commander of the newly established Space Systems Command, testified to this subcommittee, pledging to exploit what we have, buy what we can, and build what we must. We must continue to buy the best off-the-shelf technology and partner with the best firms to invent new technology. We must also demand that the U.S. has the capabilities that vastly exceed anything in the private sector. We must always be years ahead of any competition. Lastly, the ongoing war in Ukraine reminds us that integrated air and missile defense is vital in modern conflicts. The mark favors an increase in current Army Patriot battery inventory, directs an independent review of the integrated air and missile defense of the U.S. territory of Guam, and requires that a lead finally be established for cruise missile defense architecture of our homeland, an issue that has festered for the last 5 years. I am happy to report that the Pentagon has just recently responded to our mark by promising to designate such a lead by the end of next month. Lastly, our mark highlights the subcommittee's continued support for asymmetric technologies for ballistic and hypersonic defense, because as threats become more complex, we need more than a kinetic response. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to give a sincere thanks to our outstanding professional staff, led by Maria Vastala. And our staffers are John Warden, Ryan Tully, Whitney Verrett, and William Braden. I would also like to thank my personal staffer for this subcommittee, Zach Brown, for his excellent work. Before I close, this is, of course, my last Strategic Forces Subcommittee mark due to gerrymandering in my home state. I want to thank my colleagues in Washington on both sides of the aisle for making the full committee and the subcommittee proof that Congress can work together on a bipartisan basis to put the safety and security of our nation first and above politics. There are, of course, issues on which we disagree, but we work together to build a stronger America, as we and our predecessors have done for the last 61 years. I turn now to my ranking member, the gentleman from Colorado, for his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will submit my full remarks for the record, but briefly I want to say a couple of things. First of all, I echo what you said about our great professional staff. They do an excellent job. They work on a very bipartisan, professional basis, and their competency is really amazing to me almost every single day. And my personal staff member, who's also here, Brian Willicott, is in that same mold. And my Space Force fellow, Reaper, is in that same mold as well, Mark Krim. So I do want to say also, lastly, Mr. Chairman, I have been appreciative of your example on this subcommittee. You've acted with a high degree of seriousness and professionalism and competency throughout the whole time I've known you. You and one of my predecessors here, Mike Rogers of Alabama, you guys were very instrumental in Space Force coming about. And sure, the administration was very involved, but we did the nuts and bolts to actually put it together and make it happen. And you were a huge part of that. So we have another almost 7 months of hard work ahead of us. So I don't want to write anyone's obituary too soon, but you will be missed, and I appreciate your example. But I look forward to the next 7 months. I look forward to the next couple weeks as we finish out this mark in the subcommittee today and for the full committee later this month. So thank you, Mr. Cooper, for what you've done for our country.
Thank you, Mr. Lamborn. Your comments are very much appreciated. And by unanimous consent, let's withhold anyone's obituary for the foreseeable future. So ordered, yeah. We will now proceed to the markup of H.R. 7900, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2023. Copies of our subcommittee mark and directive report language were made available and distributed to member offices on Monday, June 6th. Is there any discussion or are there any questions on the subcommittee mark? Hearing none, if there is no further discussion, the chair lays before the members the text of the subcommittee mark for consideration. Are there any amendments to the subcommittee mark? Hearing none, the chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Carbajal, for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, just a second.
Mr. Chairman.
Salute, I've just begun here. So we have to adopt. Okay. The question now occurs on adoption of the mark as amended. So many as are in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Aye. The ayes have it, and the mark is adopted. Sorry. A roll call vote is ordered. Nope. No, we don't have to do that? Okay. The ayes have it. Let's go ahead to Mr. Carbajal. Okay. Now it's your turn, Mr. Carbajal. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Carbajal, for the purpose of a motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I move that the subcommittee report the mark favorably to the full committee.
The question is on the motion of the gentleman from California, Mr. Carbajal. So many of those in favor will say aye. 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 Those opposed, no. A quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. I ask unanimous consent that staff be authorized to make any necessary, conforming, technical, clerical changes and to remove from the mark provisions that would cause the mark to refer to other committees or would result in additional direct spending. Without objection, so ordered. There being no further legislative business before the subcommittee.
Before you adjourn?
This meeting is adjourned pending Mr. Garamendi's comment.
Mr. Chairman, I would object to an immediate adjournment prior to us recognizing the extraordinary work you've done as chairman of this committee. And all of us appreciate your intensity, your wisdom on most every question, but not all questions, and also the extraordinary intelligence that you've provided to us. And so thank you so very much for the pleasure of working with you these many, many years. We're going to miss you here. And thank you so very much.
You're very kind. Thank you.
We're here.
Now, there being no further legislative business before the subcommittee, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.